There's only a few of all of the filings I submitted with the Supreme Court of Texas that have an indicator of transmitted. And I've suspected that the manipulation of the time stamping and the indicators of that sort, especially after the first week of September in 2017. See, in the first week of September 2017, everything in the state of Texas presumably was closed down. And there was a significant disturbance going on with the electronic filing site of the state of Texas. And so after that, things that had been reflected on the electronic filing site in one manner were reflected differently when it came back up. Some of the dates were changed, but I had no record to verify. So, it could have just been my imagination. And then there was a period of time during the fall of 2017 where all of my legal filings were just completely offline. It just so happened to be when the first lady and the second lady were in Texas. All of my filings were offline during the time frame they were in Texas. And then when they came back up, there were some changes to the filings, right? And so there's these filings now that say they have this very specific transmitted. So did they say transmitted because what they did is they embedded some sort of crypto link situation, or they weaponize those ones specifically so that they can take a key number or some sort of number connected to it and embed it into the code of an electronic communication. So when they wave off attacks using my filing onto me, so I end up speaking, or sometimes I cry, or sometimes I get really angry and yell and scream, and they actually use those transmittals, and so they ping those transmittals, and depending upon the calibration or the specific kind of command sequence they give, and then in conjunction with some correlating ping, it might come from somebody else getting a phone call or somebody else getting an email, or maybe the few emails I'm allowed to get on select feeds. They actually wave the tax off through me, and then usually I speak about it, and or even record it or write it down, and then they're able to keep me completely cut off and isolated and refuse to get back to me to accrue defaults that they're able to use as actual financing while they engage in processes of electronic warfare. See, it's called electronic warfare. Is this part of the weapons development paradigm that Texas has with a variety of other partners? So it was not all of these other things. You were developing electronic weapons that are basically based on torturing political opposition and visiting intentional cyber threats upon them and their work products in efforts to defame them and also to try to socially engineer them into covering up for your crimes. Because it makes sense rationally, right? It makes sense rationally that that's what you just did. And there's actually two filings, one of which is the restraining order concerning the police, and the other one, which is a request for consideration of specific kinds of charges involving the Texas Veterans Commission Executive Board. Did you already get a pay it forward pardon from the Attorney General of Israel? Because if you did, then somebody needs to implement a disciplinary proceeding against him for aiding and abetting you in acts of treason against your own country.